Right, so I'm just going to try and give you an example of a management information system from my personal experience, just to try and highlight what it is in a little bit more detail. So you've obviously got the information in this table. Well, what a management information system does is it basically can keep records, it can generate reports, and it can help you see information about how things are going in the organisation. So we have one of these in school, and our management information system is actually the place where we take our registers every lesson, and it's called Facility by a company called Serco. Now, if I just close that down, I'll show you how we access it. So teachers get this link there, click on that, and it opens it up. Now, I can't show you this in detail because it'll have personal information in, and I don't want you to see other people's names and addresses. And that's an important point about this. I think it's got confused because I've closed it down. Opens up again while I was recording a different video. Let's just try again. This time, there we go. So it's got lots of different things in here. Now, only people who are meant to access it can access it. So I've got access, other teachers have got access to certain areas. We've got a data manager in school who can access more things than I have access to. So basically, you only get the bits that you need and you should be able to get to. And that's important because we don't want people getting access to details that they shouldn't have access to. Now, one of the things I can do from in here is I could search for a member of staff or a student, and it would bring up like their name, their address, their telephone number, contact details, maybe who their parents are. It'll give, for staff, it'll give the next of kin, who to contact in an emergency. It'll have things like the doctor's name and number on. So lots of different information about people, which is why it's so important that it's kept secure. But in our school, we can also do things like take registers, which helps us to see patterns about who's not attending regularly. Then we can do something about that. We can record our assessments and reviews. So all of the reviews that go home are actually done in this management information system. So that keeps track of what level different students are working at and things like that. So in this table here, where it says that it can help with things like find out how things are going and improvements that can be made, stuff like that, that's the type of thing it's talking about. So in a school scenario, you can see who's not attending. That means you can do something about it. You can see whose review date was maybe lower than it should be, and you can do something about that. So it's very, very similar to how it would be used in business. But in business, it might be things like you can tell which products are selling well and which ones aren't, and then you can do something about it if those products aren't selling well. So there'd be a different purpose, same sort of idea. It does cost a lot of money. We have to have one in school. We have to have somewhere to keep that information. So we don't have a choice but to buy it. But it is an expensive piece of software that we have to pay for every year. We have looked sometimes at changing to a different MIS because it doesn't do everything quite the way that we want it to. And there's this issue here, data can be out of date. So let's say, for example, that you were to move house and your parent didn't tell us that you've moved house, then we would have the wrong information on our system. And then when somebody tries to get in touch or send a letter home, that letter might not reach you. We have to do training to help teachers be able to use the system. And it doesn't make the judgments. It doesn't tell us you need to do something about this person whose review data maybe isn't as good as it should be. We have to look at the reports that it generates and make those decisions for ourselves. So all it can do is provide us with the information, and then we use that. I hope that's useful and just gives you a real life example about what an MIS is.